The LHT is Discovery Optics' lightweight entry-level scope line, and this new 6-24 first focal plane model is no exception. At less than 22 ounces, it's one of the lightest. But the most surprising thing about this scope is its street price of about $150. Surprising or suspicious? If you want to find out if this budget scope is any good, hit that like button and we'll take a closer look. Let's keep this unboxing short so we can just see what you get inside the box. This is the Discovery Optics LHT, and this is the 6-24 power version of this scope with a 44mm objective lens. So it is the largest objective lens of their LHT line, and also the longest at a little over 14 inches long, and not that much longer than a typical 3-9, and actually not that much bigger than 3-9, so surprisingly small and lightweight for a 6-24. And I believe the smallest and lightest 6-24 of Discovery Optics of all of their scopes. Now the LHT line is their crossover line, and I presume LHT stands for lightweight, hunting, and tactical, or maybe hunting and target, because this has features that would be applicable for both kinds of applications. It has a first focal plane reticle, and all of the LHTs have a 30mm tube, and actually the rear half of this scope is pretty much identical to their other LHT scopes. All of them also have an illuminator reticle with 6 levels of illumination, with an off in between, and the index, and it's powered by a 2032 coin battery, which is underneath this. You can put it underneath this cap here, and it shares the same turret as our parallax focus, which turns very smoothly and goes all the way down to 25 yards for its near focus. Now our elevation and windage turrets are locking. You just pull up to unlock, and they are exposed, so you can start turning them immediately. They are very audible, tactile positive, with just a little bit of slop in between each of the clicks. And both of them, the clicks are 1/4 MOA, and the turrets are user resettable. You just unscrew that center screw cap there with a coin, or just come with a little tool there, and you can reset that turret. And our windage, also loud, tactile positive, with just a little bit of slop in between each of the clicks. And our magnification ring turns pretty smoothly, a little bit of grit at the very end there, and a little bit of resistance, but fortunately it does come with like a mini throw lever or fin here to help you with leverage with gloved hands or wet hands. And our diopter focus turns a little bit of grit, but not bad, and a fair number of turns, so you can make some really fine adjustments with that diopter focus. So overall, pretty good, pretty nice. And this is their budget line of scopes for Discovery Optics. So let's get this mounted up, and we'll take a look at the glass next. Before we get started with the test, I'd just like to take a quick break here to talk about this episode's sponsor, Aura. For the cost of just a VPN, I'm getting a whole suite of security services, including $1 million in identity theft insurance, and they're even removing me from those damn data broker listings. Use my link, aura.com/moondog, and you can try them for 14 days, free. And if you use that link, you're helping to support this channel. You know, identity fraud is a real thing, and with AI, it's all too easy to spoof your identity. That's why you should try out Aura. Alright, let's get back to the tests. We're looking at the peak of Mount Davidson, approximately 1,500 yards away, through the Discovery Optics LHT at its lowest power of 6 to give our best overall view through the glass. And the camera is doing a good job of compensating for the lack of contrast in this image, though the sky has gone almost completely white, and it's actually blue up there. So yeah, there's a little bit of adjustment on the camera. Also, when I'm looking at this through my naked eye, there is a noticeable distortion, softening around the outer edges of the image, the outer third, so it's not equally sharp from center to the outer edge. Some folks will call that a fisheye feel to the glass, and that is typical of budget scopes. Now, let's bring up our magnification about halfway in its range, which is typically a scope sweet spot. I'm going to stop at 12 power here, and you can see that it still has a lot of detail and especially in the center third of the image, but we are seeing some chromatic aberration, especially in high contrast areas like where the sky silhouettes the tree line. Now let's bring this all the way up to its maximum magnification of 24 power and take a look at the image now. And we've lost quite a bit of light, but I can still see the trail marker sign at the top of the hill there. That is that white object peeking up above the bushes above and to the right of the center crosshairs. That is about a 3-foot-ish sign on top of a pole, which is a good proxy for an IPSC target at this distance. And I should also point out that the reticle is illuminated. I'm going to turn it off right now, and I don't know if you can even see the difference of it on versus off. Yeah, the illumination of this reticle is not very bright, and that's the LHTs are known for having rather dim illumination. I'm going to set this back on its maximum and put my hand in front of the bell, and I don't even think that you can see any of the illumination with my hand in front of the bell. So yeah, really only usable in twilight or low light, not daylight bright. We're looking through the LHT at our reference target's downrange, 100 yards away, and we have the scope set at its lowest power of 6 to give our best overall view through the glass. And what I am seeing is, as before, a little bit of chromatic aberration. You can see that in high contrast areas, like in the target frames. And there is a softening, a distortion around the outer edges, so it's not equally sharp from center to the outer edge, but not bad. Now, since we are here, let's take a look at our range of adjustments, starting with our elevation. You can compare that to the specs that I posted up, and that's the very topmost. You can see a little bit of the eye box peeking in as that darkened area at the top, and now at the bottom. There we go, they're bottomed out. Now let's bring this back to factory 0. Now let's check out our windage. You can see a little bit of the eye box peeking in there too. So yeah, not a very forgiving eye box for 6-24. And that is the very leftmost. So let's turn this back to factory 0 on this turret. Alright, let's bring up our magnification all the way to its maximum of 24 and take a look now at our reference target. And let's do a box test. Since we are lined up to the bottom left highlight square on that grid target, let's do a full rotation on our elevation and a full rotation on our windage. Now back on our elevation, back to its original 0 on the turret, and back on our windage. Alright, let's do a more of an abuse test on these turrets. This is the nipple twister test called by my buddy Cyclops Joe on his channel. I'm just going to turn the heck out of these turrets and see if it'll come back to its original 0. Let's start with our elevation, and let's turn this windage back. Alright, not bad. And since this is a nice thin reticle, we can see the whole target quite clearly. Let's take a look at some of the details that we can see. Now, it's gotten quite dark, so we're not seeing a lot of the detail in the backstop behind our target, but we can see the fine lines of the grid target on the top right, and there's an overall warm tint you can see in the color card on the top left. And if we look at the paper target in the bottom left, you can see the hits on the reactive sticker target in the center, as well as 2 faint 22 caliber holes below that reactive sticker target. And in our resolution chart on the bottom right, I can make out both horizontal and vertical lines all the way down to element 6 and group -1, which is actually pretty good for a budget 24 power scope. Before we talk about the Discovery Optics LHT, I just want to remind you to hit the like and subscribe buttons right now. It just takes a second, and it's absolutely free, so why wouldn't you press those buttons? And I'd like to thank Discovery Optics for sending out the LHT for me to test out. This is the 6-24 version of this, and they have, I think I've tested all the other versions at this point, the 3-12, the 4.5-18. And this is one of the most affordable 6-24 power scopes I've come across. It's got a street price just under $150. I don't know, is there a cheaper, better scope, or even a scope that is as good as this for that price? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you found one. But for the price that you're paying for this, I think it's a great bargain. Now, is it as good as, say, a Vortex Diamondback Tactical or an Athlon Argos, or even the Discovery Optics EDPRS? No, it isn't. But those scopes are $100, $200, $300 more than this. And this is smaller and lighter weight than the EDPRS. So, you got to make some compromises here and there. And if you're going to get a scope that is as inexpensive as this one, you're going to cut some corners here and there. And it's chiefly in the glass quality of this particular scope. Now, you kind of saw a little bit of that in my my video. But even with the naked eye, it's even more noticeable, that kind of fisheye effect. I know technically that's not the correct term for it, but it's distortion, curvature around the outer edges of this image, of the scope. Things are not going to be as tack sharp from center to the outer edge, and things around the outer edge of the view, straight objects like fences and whatever are going to be curved on there. So that distortion is quite visible with the naked eye with this particular scope. And there is chromatic aberration, which reduces the overall sharpness of fine details. And when you bring it up to 24 power, yeah, it gets a little soft, and it also gets a little bit dark. But again, this is a $150 scope. So for $150, I think you're getting a pretty good deal. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. But if you're interested in learning more about this scope, you can find more details in the video description. And of course, you could check out my blog at moondogindustries.com for my full written article about this. So thanks for checking out those details, and thanks for checking out this video. God bless. Moondog out. What did you think of the video? Leave me a comment. And you can always chat with me on X, Facebook, or Instagram. You can find useful links in the video description, and check out my other videos, channels, and my website, moondogindustries.com.